How can you leave it here alone? Kayo. I'm sending you running, you bastard. Sometimes what you do best isn't enough to defend the one you love most in life. Elena leads what appears to be a peaceful life. He shares his daily life with Kayo, his younger brother, whose confidence becomes evident when he puts his hand in his wallet as if it were routine. She intervenes and decides to be the one to hand over the cash, trying to maintain a minimum of control. From that everyday gesture, it becomes clear that Kayo crosses boundaries with ease. Elena, patient, senses that the tension is starting to build. To break the routine, they both go to the beach. Under the open sky and the sound of the sea, they share a moment that borders on idyllic. Kayo invents a perspective game. They pretend to hold, crush, and even eat the distant people, laughing and sharing their own inside jokes. For a moment, they seem like two siblings who exist only to enjoy the afternoon. But their complicity also hides cracks that have yet to be revealed. Back at home, the intimacy between them becomes more palpable. They sit together in silence, almost as if performing a ritual, while Kayo calmly strokes his sister's hair. The comfort runs deep, but the intensity of the gesture borders on unsettling. The closeness feels warm and at the same time strange. Something in the air suggests that this bond is beginning to feel strained. Their proximity is confirmed when the two end up sleeping together on the same couch, narrow and impractical. They remain wedged together as if there were no other way to stay close. Their bodies seek comfort, but the scene casts a shadow of doubt. The need to be together seems to go beyond simple sibling affection. Later, Elena's professional world opens up. She works as a counselor in court, defending rebellious youths. She represents a boy who stole an EMP3 player, downcast and ashamed, while the victim exaggerates the story in front of the judge. The prosecutor proposes juvenile detention for an indefinite period, and Elena steps in to emphasize that the offense is minor. Even so, the judge sides with the victim, and her work shows how difficult each step will be. Elena's next case is tougher. A teenage girl is losing her way. She doesn't eat, insults the person in charge of the shelter where she lives, and gets into fights. When the judge asks her why she doesn't go back to her mother, the girl replies that her mother doesn't love her. What's more, she's pregnant and has chosen to live on the street. The prosecutor bluntly warns that if the baby is born there, it will be taken away from her. Elena steps in firmly. She reminds everyone that the young woman is in this situation because her mother abandoned her, and tries to spark a bit of empathy in the judge. He falls silent in the face of this uncomfortable truth and declares that he will not allow two minors to be left defenseless. He orders the girl to return to the shelter. The case is resolved, but the emotional weight remains with Elena. At home, the tension with Kayo rises. He asks her for money and insists that the funds don't belong to her alone. Elena's anger explodes. She looks for a document and shows it to him, demanding that he read it. When Kayo refuses, she reads their parents' will aloud, making it clear that the money has a purpose. Unable to accept it, Kayo snatches the document from her hands as the argument escalates. Shortly after, Kayo gets himself into trouble. Elena receives a call and rushes to the police station. She finds her brother handcuffed for stealing. Disappointment washes over her, but her protective instinct kicks in. She knows this isn't just another case, and that this time her personal life and her work are dangerously intertwined. The night drags on, and her room to maneuver is minimal. Without wasting time, Elena speaks to the prosecutor, asking for leniency and urging him not to be as harsh as he usually is with other young people. She appeals to his humanity and their professional relationship. Her plea is an attempt to stop the judicial blow that is coming. The balance between the personal and the ethical weighs on her, but she decides to risk her credibility. The official response will be decisive for Kayo. Elena's cases continue. She tries to help a young man who has been lost ever since his very poor mother abandoned him. The boy stole a bicycle, but before the police arrived, the neighbors caught him and beat him brutally. Elena listens, takes notes, and looks for options. The violence of the neighborhood vibrates in every detail. She knows she needs more than just arguments. Moved by empathy, Elena decides to look for the boy's mother. The woman agrees to the meeting without hesitation, and when they finally meet, the young man hugs her with a joy that is deeply moving. The reunion is long and full of emotion. Elena feels that her effort has achieved something real. For a moment, her work gives her hope again. At least at work, because at home, everything with Kayo is getting worse. While going through his clothes, Elena finds a wad of bills that he can't explain. He doesn't work, and his only source of income should be her. When Kayo notices the money is missing, he immediately accuses her and confronts her violently, demanding to know where his things are. For the first time, he physically assaults her, and the line that separated affection from threat is broken. The argument turns bitter. Elena demands an explanation for the origin of the money. Kayo, out of control, pushes her hard. She falls down the stairs, dazed, watching as her brother becomes someone unrecognizable. the blow is not just physical. The family fracture is exposed and fear sets in. It doesn't take long before Elena returns to the police station. The scene is different. Caio is handcuffed to a bar and badly beaten. This time there is no luck to be had. The marks on his body tell another story, one he can no longer deny. The legal process is preparing to be relentless. Elena knows Caio's future will be difficult. The exhaustion shows on her face. Caio appears before the judge and insists that he is innocent, that he was not responsible for anyone's death, that people beat him for no reason. Elena reminds the prosecutor that Caio has a direct guardian and family, and argues that it is not necessary to send him to juvenile detention. For once, the prosecutor supports her before the judge. Annoyed, the judge tells her that if it were any other teenager, he would be asking for indefinite time in juvenile detention, implying that there is favoritism because Caio is Elena's brother. Then, he decides to impose the indefinite sentence himself. The prosecutor falls silent and the courtroom suddenly turns cold. The scales come down harshly on Caio. There will be no quick way out. Caio goes through the security checks with a mix of resignation and anger. Every step inside that place feels twice as heavy. He walks in silence, following the staff's instructions, accepting the procedures without resistance. The rigid and oppressive atmosphere surrounds him like a tangible sentence. The door closes and reality imprisons him. A couple of days later, Elena brings a cup with his favorite food prepared with care. Caio, hungry and exhausted, eats without hesitation. In the midst of that caring gesture, he breaks down. With a broken voice and teary eyes, he begs her to get him out of there, as if she were his last hope. The plea pierces her, but she has no easy answers. That night, Elena wakes up startled by strange noises. She finds two unfamiliar boys inside her house, nervous and tense. They say they're looking for something that belongs to them and head straight to Caio's room. They open drawers and move things around in a hurry. They take some of his things and, as they leave, they break the glass on the door. The threat lingers in the air, and Elena trembles at what it means. The next day, worry turns into a search. Elena goes around a neighborhood showing Caio's photo and asking if anyone knows him, hoping to find some loose end. But at first, no one seems to recognize him. A woman, after looking at the picture, says she has seen him and gives her detailed directions on where to ask. With that lead, Elena arrives at a rundown building, desperate for answers and for a way to get him out of juvenile detention before his life is marked forever. There she discovers that a group of young people hangs around the area, stealing and spreading fear among the neighbors. The news leaves her frozen. She insists that Caio doesn't belong to that group, that he couldn't be a part of it. The woman she is talking to coldly replies that Elena stopped knowing her brother a long time ago. She even asks Elena if she never suspected the money he brought home, and the doubt turns into a painful certainty. With her pain turning into anger, Elena confronts Caio. She demands clear explanations from him, but he avoids her gaze and retreats into silence. Then she tells him about the two boys who entered their house, hoping for a reaction. His response is an even deeper silence, an almost silent confirmation. The distance between them grows into an abyss. At the sentencing trial, a witness claims to have seen Caio shoot and take someone's life, along with two other boys. She says she was looking out the window when it all happened. Caio listens with resignation, as if he knows there's no turning back. Elena, a few meters away, sinks into growing sadness. Each word closes another door. The verdict is delivered bluntly: indefinite institutionalization. Elena tries one last resort and requests supervised release, searching for any loophole. She knows it's a desperate attempt. The judge, after reviewing the evidence and hearing the testimony, determines that institutionalization is appropriate. Hope is reduced to a thread that's unraveling. Caio clenches his hands tightly, accepting that his decisions have brought him here. He knows he'll spend the rest of his youth in a juvenile detention center that's nothing more than another prison. The hardest part is admitting that he had his sister's unconditional support and betrayed her. Defeat pierces his body. Back home, Elena sinks into the bathtub, motionless and resigned. She makes a living defending young people who have no one. But when it came time to protect the most important one, she couldn't save him. Guilt consumes her, and she feels she failed in her duty to care for and raise her brother in their father's absence. She understands that no matter how hard she fought, there are destinies that cannot be changed.